Okay, in this video I'm showing how to tie the mount knot for the rulgert hitch. Now, I'm comfortable with recommending this at this point. I've done some testing on it. It's a very strong knot. There's two options. I'll be leaving for finishing off the knot to recommended stress levels. Now here that we got the green rope is representative of the bridge rope. The blue rope is representative of your climbing line. Now this is a 6mm line here. I don't think anybody's going to be climbing 6, but I mean I climb 8. Okay, and that's a high-tech cord with a lot of tensile strength. And you know, really that's what this is about. It's a safety feature for guys that are climbing thin diameter rope, because obviously, you know, you try to grab onto a thin diameter rope and it's moving fast. There's not a lot to grab onto. Your hand can't even hardly crunch down that small. There's very little surface area. The heat's going to build up really fast. You know, you're going to melt your gloves and stuff. You know, lots of bad things can happen. So that's what this is about. Is guys running, you know, higher tech small diameter lines. Now, when you tie this knot, you want to start out with more hitch cord than you think, okay? And you're going to want to trim the ends in the end, or possibly trim, you know, over, you know, part way in. And then when you get done, you can untie it, document your length, and then reassemble it, okay? But it really depends on the diameter of your climbing line, the diameter of your bridge rope, and then also your hitch cord. Okay, so when you push the link down, scrub the link into the body of the knot, your climbing line, the standard climbing line, should spin through there freely, because obviously you want to take up the slack. Now, the higher you go, the more you're going to want to watch that slack. In the video, I had a big old loop. I was only like, you know, 8 feet off the ground. It wasn't really much of a concern, but you know, you get up there a ways, and you're going to want to make sure that you're tending, you know, pulling your slack out, you know, and maintaining a small amount of slack between the rulgert hitch and your Farino, if you happen to be using a Farino. The other thing is you want your mount to be fairly tight on the bridge rope, where when the bridge rope's under tension, you actually have to work a little bit to move it, because when this thing, you know, engages like that, see, it slides up the bridge rope. You want to develop some heat here, because you know that's turning your momentum into heat and dissipating that as the hitch moves up, okay, towards the pulley. Now, I did find that pushing on the front of this hitch makes absolutely no difference. It's really its proximity this way, further away, closer. So there's not as much, there's very little danger of interference, but still, okay, still, you want to make sure when this thing slams up against your pulley, you want to make sure there's some clearance there, okay? So now into the tying the knot. Like I said, you start out with more than you need. And you know, here I'm using the 5mm New England Tech cord. Okay, it's got a Technicore core. You want to make sure that whatever you use is going to be able to handle the heat. Now this, I'll burn the sheath before, and then the core will still be, you know, there, and that'll be able to take a lot of heat. So that's really, the core is what's saving my life here. The sheath I don't care about. In fact, I don't mind that it would burn up, okay, because what that's going to do is it's going to give me a visual indication that the cord needs to be changed. I need to tie a new hitch at that point, okay. So now there's a handedness discrepancy here. I'm showing this because there's a skew to the mount. This is the way you tie it for a right-handed user. A left-handed user would do a mirror image of this. So in my left hand, I take a bite with the bitter end over the top. You lay the cord underneath, and then you're tying a carrick bend. Okay, and it's just your basic carrick bend. You get that in there. Okay, so, and then you want your hitch loop relatively small. Okay, because when we capsize this, we're pulling from the loop side, not the bitter ends. You're not pulling on the bitter ends to capsize it. You're actually enlarging the loop and capsizing it that way. So you get that fairly tight, and then you reach into the loop and you're pulling to capsize it, and you twist it at the same time. Okay, and when you capsize it, the tails will flip 180 degrees. So you're rotating it, you know, like whatever that is. I keep that. Anyways, there you go. Okay, it's capsized and it's tight, fairly tight, workable. Now that's what you're looking at there. You're looking for some sort of symmetry with those loops like that. I'll show the finished knot in the end here. Okay, now at this point, you're going to take your bridge rope. You can see how these ends are skewed, right? You throw your bridge rope in there, and you just fold them around, and they follow each other around into the knot, back into the knot. So what I'm doing is I'm following the other back into the knot. You pull out this loop, slide that through. Okay, then you flip it over. You're following the other one back into the knot. Pull out that loop a little bit, slide that through. Okay, and they're parallel. You know, you gotta make sure they don't cross. Okay. Now the next thing is you fold it over the loop. Okay, and then follow itself back. Okay, not the other one. So you're going through this loop here. Okay, following itself back. And then same on this side. Go around the hitch loop and follow itself back. And that's the basic assembly right there. Now, there's two options here. This knot is very strong in and of itself, but in order for me to feel comfortable recommending it, I have to specify that this end then would be lashed into the one that it's parallel with right there. Okay, like not this one, but these two. You would lash those together. Okay, then you flip it over, you lash these two together. Now the other option is then how I got this one. Now I just happened to be where I had the ends whipped, and I needed to take some slack out of it, so I brought it over. This is an option, you know, alternative to the to whipping this into this one. Is you fold this over and it crosses this. This is the loop coming through here, right? It crosses that loop and comes out on top on the other side through both of these two. Okay, you can see that here. I got the it's coming through here and it's crossing, and it ends up actually on this side. It's crossing twice. I may change that, but in any case, if you do the fold over and back through these two loops, I still would recommend a drop of super glue at a tight joint. Now you're going to want to tie one of these, slide it off, and tie another one, because you want to be able to reference that. Okay, and the reason that is to get this clearance right. Okay, like I said, right? To get that clearance right, you're going to have to work through the knot one way or the other. If you want more slack on the loop, you got to work through the knot the one way. If you want less slack on the loop, you got to work through the other way. But you want to get this tight on here. Okay, so like I said, you got to work to move it. Okay. I guess, that's pretty much it. The main thing is, getting it tight, learning how to work through the knot, having that model of the knot off to the side that you can reference and you can look through and analyze it and figure out the sequence. Okay, because the sequence to make the loop, to make this tight down here and make the loop bigger is different than to make this tight down here and make the loop smaller. Okay, or pull out the ends. And that's pretty much it. You get to this point, like me, I'm sitting here going, all I got to do is check this over and hit it with some super glue. I'm ready to go high level with it. Also, the link is not manufactured by a manufacturer at this point. This is just an oval screw link. I welded I think it's a 3/8 nut on the back, on the spine, centered on the spine. I drilled it to get rid of the threads, and I took a die grinder and smoothed off all the hex points. You want to get it really smooth. You want to make sure the weld is good. If you're not a good welder, and you better, you got to know what you're doing. Otherwise, take it to somebody that's got some credentials that is going to freaking lay that thing in there decent. And then, if you want to have them do it, or if you got some tools that you can do it. Otherwise, you're just waiting for somebody to make something like this. But you want to make sure it's all smooth. There's no burrs. Hit it with some 400 grit sandpaper. Hit it with some freaking 600. If get it like polished, okay. And you shouldn't have any problems. And also check your clearances. I think I mentioned that. Still, always check your clearances. How is it going to land? Even if it does hit something, it depends on the angle that's pulling up. But the tighter you get this, that's why I'm saying when you get this scrubbed into the knot, you want just enough there where this plays through easily. And you pull it away just a little bit, and you want it to be like, okay, it's starting to grab right there. Okay, so scrubbed into the mounting knot. That's you're free. You don't want too much excess there. Okay. Now I'm comfortable with recommending that. Okay, but like I said, any knot you tie is a mechanism that you are responsible for. Okay, so you got to know what you're doing. Start low and slow, like they say, low and slow. Make sure that everything's working right before you go to a high level. Make sure you got everything done right, that this is done correctly, and it will work. Okay, thank you. Bye.